Welcome, beautiful divine masculine and feminine darlings. This is the Seraphim Gypsy, SeraFae Indigo Empress, and Shiloh Horizon. I don't plan to be here for too long, but I do have a little bit of Reiki before bed. So let's do that now, shall we? There's Serenity Reiki coming through. There's also Peaceability Reiki coming through. This is to help reestablish a space of peace. Still waters after a calm storm. Chaotic storm. Go lay down. Shh. Go lay down. There's also elevation Reiki coming through. I need another light for a few minutes. There's Mastery Reiki coming through. I hear self-mastery. This is to help reestablish a space of self-control. Not just within our own lives, but in regards to clearing people out who are violating other people's boundaries and free will. There's also heart chakra Reiki coming through. Speaking of elevation Reiki, there's also an emphasis on financial Reiki especially. There's also feng shui Reiki coming through. This will help to reorganize mind, heart, life, physical environment. This may also help you have ideas on how to reorganize an aspect of your life. Seeing somebody's cubicle in an office too. Making sure that their workflow space is as balanced as possible, especially if they have bad coworkers. But there's an emphasis on having an idea of where to start cleaning or organizing, or how to do so. Whether it's how to set up a specific room in the best way, or simply where to start organizing first. Let's say you have a house that needs some structure or cleaning. It's about figuring out where the best place to start is. For some people, that's picking a corner, and that's okay. Start somewhere. Talk to God about it. 8:08 on the timer and 1:22 on the clock here on the East Coast. Cheers. I just heard alopecia Reiki. This won't be for everybody, but this is to help those who are struggling. I just heard something about nutrient deficiencies. Make sure if you are dealing with something like that, it's not an issue with nutrient deficiency. Not having enough vitamins and minerals can affect that. Soak in a number of things. Yeah, somebody says vitamin deficiencies. Oh, absolutely. In a combination of them, right? Not having enough just typical hair, skin, and nail nutrients can do that to you, but if you don't get enough B vitamins or B12, I forget whether it's B6 or B12, it might be both of them actually, it can cause a number of issues: brittle nails and hair, thinning. As an example, whether this means each strand gets more fragile or there are just less of them that are able to grow as fully and effectively, or a combination, right, texturally or otherwise. All has to do with cellular damage. In fact, let's do some cellular Reiki. Just heard cellular scrubbing. So this will help clear out any funny coding. This can help manifest the as above, so below. meaning that if you have any energetic issues or past life issues that are manifesting in some way as like physical wounds, that's being stopped. Released out of the cellular body, released out of the spiritual body, so that it can be released out of the physical body. Those affect the mental and emotional. There's a karmic who's upset. Here, why did I have to do that to her? So they feel like they're in trouble. Or they're caught for what they've done and nobody's listening to us, is what they're saying. People know that they lied. Yeah, here, why did you do that then? Terrible idea. I don't need that light on. This one's on, actually. I just heard practicality Reiki. Speaking of, I don't need the smaller light on if the bigger light's on. The smaller light wasn't quite cutting it. I needed to be able to see what I was doing. There's illumination Reiki coming through as well. Just back one more bowl, and then I'll turn the light back out. There's a karmic who says, you know, I kept hearing something about that earlier. This karmic said, there's no way we're going to get away with what we've done to the light worker. Meaning that they know that they're caught targeting people. Yeah, see, I hear why. Why did I do that? Okay. They're saying, why didn't I just listen to the light worker? So, I know I did, but you may have been somebody who warned these criminals about coming for light workers. You may have said, look, I know you're upset, but coming for me is not the answer, or if you continue to do this, there is going to be some kind of backlash. And they may have laughed, and they may have mocked, and they thought it was funny, you see. They thought it was funny. But they're not laughing now. And if they are, they won't be. Not for long. Because what I'm picking up is that they're wishing you see that they had listened. They're wishing that they had not come for light workers. They truly didn't think they'd be caught. Some of them felt like since they got away with it for so long, that they would continue to get away with it. They've not. 1622. I wish I'd have listened. So they know that they were so full of arrogance and ego. They were so cocky that that is in fact what has them in a pickle. Some of us warned them to stop doing what they were doing, and they didn't. They took it as a challenge when we set a boundary. They found it offensive that we would not submit to them. And they're realizing we weren't being cocky, we weren't being arrogant, we were simply warning them against their own poor judgment and impending consequences. They were seeking to oppose those boundaries and what was right out of arrogance, cockiness. And now it's cost them. Quite dearly, in fact. I hear it's cost them everything. They didn't take good advice just because they didn't like where it was coming from. Cut off their own nose to spite their faces, metaphorically speaking. And they took that boundary as a challenge to cross. It's all out of ignorance. So there's that. There's another layer of sovereignty Reiki coming through. 1234. On the clock here on the East Coast. There's a silly karmic who thinks that they can, I guess, bully the lay workers into submission. I hear, why won't you be soft for me? Why won't you be soft for me? That's what this person is saying. Why won't you be soft for me? It's because they're abusive and oppressive. They make people put up a defense. Yeah, there it is. Well, I've seen you be soft for other people. It's a karmic male, sounds like to me, or a very toxic, abrasive karmic female. And this person, this karmic, says, well, I've seen you be soft for other people, meaning divine masculine. They feel like they've seen her be soft, gentle, submissive, very sweet, or like if he says something and he wants something, she says okay, and she doesn't do that with other people. It's because she's not a pick-me. She's not just going along to get along. But when this particular masculine of higher ranking, of a matched sovereign elevation speaks, even just energetically, telepathically, spiritually speaking, she picks up this matched frequency. And I hear, yes, Daddy, right. There's a level of respect and trust here between them that she doesn't have with other people. And I feel like it's vice versa. It's both ways. That's why he recognizes her and respects her, because he also has that within himself. And he doesn't tolerate or respect those who don't. But he gets a different version of her. He gets a different side of her. He gets a different response from her. Because really what they're asking as karmics is, why are we being treated like karmics when the divine masculine is being treated like a divine masculine? Why does she trust the divine masculine when she doesn't trust us? And it's very simple. I feel like the answer is in the question. 23, 22, they're not the same. I hear The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. Bad gambler, you silly karmics. I hear Free Falling by Tom Petty. Yeah, karmic energy, they feel like they're not being listened to. That's what I'm hearing, which is funny because I just picked that up and enough to speak it, but they don't care. That's not the kind of listen to that they want, right? They don't care that I'm picking up that they feel like nobody's listening to them. They want people to listen to them when it comes to the gossip that they're spinning and whatever lies they're trying to tell, but people aren't. And that's why they're mad. Some of them. Calm down, baby. Are you ready for bed? I love you, sweet boy. So, there's a karmic picking up their rage. Why are you so angry? Here, because I feel like none of their tactics worked. Like, some of them put in exorbitant amounts of money or time into trying to target people, and it's just fallen short and blown back up in their face. They also feel like they thought that they were going to get whatever they wanted by doing this, and instead it's cost them everything in their life. Like, imagine they thought that they were going to get some money or some stolen material goods that they've taken possession of, or hostages, or they were going to be able to funnel money from somebody, like get rich quick schemes, even if they were kind of a long con type of a deal. But instead, now they've been caught being criminal. So instead of whatever gains, short term, long term, small, or large, that they thought that they were going to gain, or anywhere in between, or both, now they've cost themselves all of that and then some, because they have to pay out damages to victims, they have to pay restitution for their crimes, and they have to go to jail. So they didn't get anything. In fact, they lost more than they thought that they were going to gain. The penalty for doing what they did cost them more than they thought that they were going to gain by doing whatever they have done, whatever they chose to do. Double negative for them didn't make any positives, did it? Seems like they're not very good at math. Which I think is funny, because they're the ones who tried to call the victims they targeted incompetent. 12822, like, one of these local fools here tried to make fun of my entrepreneurialism, but they couldn't even spell entrepreneur right when they did it, and thought it was a good idea to post publicly online. It wasn't. Other people noticed and sent me screenshots. In fact, some of their own so-called family members noticed and sent me screenshots. Yeah, somebody says, how did you know, or how did they know? Well, because this person went on social media and was trying to mock posts that I made, but verbatim, showing, while they were quoting things that I had posted, that they were stalking my social media and then going online to make subtweets about it, and that's psychotic behavior. So yes, when somebody that's a fan of the person who's posting notices that someone else is mocking their posts in subtweets while directly quoting them, showing that they're stalking them in order to be able to directly caption them, yeah, it's a problem. And they noticed, took screenshots, and then sent them my way. And that's what happened. And more specifically, this is a person who had direct hands in kidnapping my child, so yeah. It was even more of a red flag that a person who was involved with harming my child and holding my child hostage went online to make posts to try to mock verbatim certain things that I was posting, showing that they stalked me online and telling the world that they stalked me online, because there would have been no way for them to directly quote me unless they had. Oh, and the caption of their post was, "Some things I see online." You mean some things you saw when you stalked my Instagram. Crazy pants. Cheers. Oh, and then went and proceeded to directly quote almost like 10 hashtags or something. Except for one. One of them I didn't write. So, I don't know where that came from, but everything else was from my socials, including the hashtag Royal Bloodline. Who the heck else would post that? Cheers. Psychotic behavior. But narcissists do that when they're trying to point fingers at you or accusing you of something. Generally speaking, it's what they've done. It's like they don't want to be guilty, or in some cases they don't feel guilty at all, but there's something inside them, like what's supposed to be a guilty conscience kind of comes out, and so that's when they start projecting on others because they don't want to feel that, or they are not capable of processing that, so they shut it down or they try to throw it at other people. It's crazy. I just got a flash of borderline personality disorder. It's kind of reminding me of that. Or like borderline histrionic, some kind of cluster B narcissistic variation, combination even. 32, 33. Somebody says combination. Yes, you can have a combination or a comorbid diagnosis. Like somebody with narcissism can also have borderline personality and or histrionic, for example. It's just one example. Also, just to be very clear, PTSD and trauma are not the same things as chemical imbalances and cluster B personality disorders. A personality disorder is a personality disorder, and a stress response from trauma is a stress response from trauma, but they're not the same. Some of the symptoms can in some cases cross over, but so can many symptoms. Like cancer patients get nauseous from chemo, but so do pregnant ladies, and they're not even close to the same, but they both get nauseous. And guess what? I puke when a rapist comes around or tries to stress me out. So yeah, all the same symptom, but not at all correlated, are they? Cheers. At least that was a pattern anyway, which is a very normal stress response, trauma response. Your body will reject people and places that aren't good for you. It's to get your attention. It's a survival instinct. It's an evolution response, in fact. But I think that's good for now. Let me do a quick chakra alignment and booster. Whoa. There's elemental Reiki coming through and also diamond Reiki coming through. Thank you. Heard that. You passed the test. That's what they're saying to me. Also, this is the holy angels. It's Archangel Michael. You passed the test. And so, now help them pass the tests. This is why I'm here. Your Cynthia Avery will rise up or stand up, and there's a reference of breaking free from chains or shackles. Also having eyes in the back of her head in case she needs to run or protect herself. She writes, I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. So I stand up and take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. So I stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, you hear freedom calling. It's calling me to answer. Gotta keep on keeping on. Gotta feel it in my bones. Doing a couple of shields now. Okay, there's a much bigger energy opening up. Almost just made me cry. Hold on. It's a lot. There's been a lot of pain here. It's collective pain. I felt that. It was very sad. I'm sending lots of love. There's realignment Reiki coming through. And then also I heard musculoskeletal Reiki, so there's something about alignment. Physically and otherwise. Okay, my darlings. Sweet dreams, grand rising, happy afternoon, regardless of where you are on the timeline, in the time zone, on the replay, 4222. Please remember to pray, do no harm, take no crap, keep a dream journal next to your bed in case you need to jot down any dreams or anything like that. And remember to stay hydrated. Get your nutrients in. Blessings and namaste.